Well, hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name is Randy Rosenbloom. Alongside is Tarek Fattal from the Daily News. Good football show tonight. We have the Roosevelt Eastvale coach on. They're in the top 10 in Riverside County. Tommy's doing a great job there. Tommy Leach's club, as I said, is 5-0. They got a big game tomorrow night. We'll talk to him about that stuff. And we have Cleveland's coach, Peter Gunny, and his fine running back, Donovan Powell, from the city section. The Cavaliers play tomorrow night at home against El Camino Real, and a game we'll have on LA 36. Got to introduce Tarek, though. Good to see you, sir.
How are we doing? Another Thursday night SoCal Prep Report.
It doesn't get any better than that. Okay, flag football is here for real. We chatted about this a little bit a couple weeks ago where Vicky Lagos, the commissioner of the LA City section, said we might get some flag football going down the road. Well, the southern section, the city hasn't done it yet. They
Right.
will. I'm sure Vicky will get to it. The southern section has approved flag football for next year.
So it's not quite that simple, but yes, there was a big vote. The southern section's the biggest, strongest section in California. There's 10 sections. So they vote 61-26, yes, girls flag football. That's going to have some influence. So there's a Federate Council meeting on October 7th here in like a week or so. It'll get discussed, kicked around. Then there's another vote in February amongst all 10 sections. That's likely to pass, and that's when we'll get girls flag football as an official CIF sport.
You're into all the politics. There's going to be flag football next year.
Hey, I'm just telling you the truth.
All right, I'm going to tell you the truth. We had some issues in a football game
Yes,
last
we did.
week. Damien Bishop Amont. Break it down. What happened?
Handshake after the game. Bishop Almont beats Damien pretty handily. I believe the score was 35-7. Pushing and shoving, not abnormal, but then it got a little chaotic. So Matt Bettel, the head coach at Damien, now no longer the head coach right now. He's been suspended. He was allegedly, charges were pressed, allegedly put his hands on some players. Can't do that. So Damien will be without their head coach for the rest of the year.
See if they can overcome that. We're going to look back at last week's key games, and there's a couple ones that we're going to start with. One, we got the Cleveland coach on. He probably don't want to see the score. You know, when we were on the air last week, they were up a point. Then we get off the air, and they lose 55-12 to Carson. So Cleveland lost its first game. They had been 4-1. You're going to see some big games to watch this week as well. That's Eagle Rock and Franklin. We'll get to that game a little bit later. But the games last week, that huge game, Carson with a huge win.
Yeah, I think sometimes you might need a little wake-up call, and Cleveland's been playing really, really well as of late, so they go down, they go on the road, and, you know, hey, they take an L, but they take it on the chin and get better for it. I think it might do them a favor now that they start West Valley League play.
And we predicted it, Birmingham to beat Wainimi, and they doubled the arithmetic on them, 28-14.
Yes, they did, yeah. Another one, you know, Birmingham went 0-5 in their non-league schedule last year, went on to win the Open Division City title. It's possible they do it again.
You might have been at this game. Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park.
That game I was not at, but
it
was a
my goodness,
thriller.
double overtime. It was at 41-38.
Correct, yeah. Thousand Oaks gets the Canyon League victory over Newberry Park. And I just got to shout out Brady Smigel, the freshman quarterback, throws 3 interceptions in the first half. They're down 20-0, brings them back, puts it in double OT. Quite a gutty performance for a freshman.
Everybody loves Brady Smigel. West Ranch, a big win in the Foothill League, 43-6. Our buddy, Ryan Staub, the quarterback, 5 touchdown passes. He's got 26 touchdowns this year in the air, 0 picks.
Yeah, that's the game I was at, and that was a big step forward for West Ranch. That's a program that's never won a Foothill League title. So beating Saugus, really big step forward. The next test will be against Valencia. That's in a couple weeks. If they can take down Valencia, West Ranch could be on the brink of history.
You should have gone to the TO game. Better game.
I saw Newberry Park a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roosevelt Eastvale had a big win over Paraclete. Just absolutely annihilated them. And we're going to bring their coach on momentarily. The score there was 56-7. So this is a football team that's 5-0. We have some highlights from that football game. We have some spotlight players. And when we bring the coach on, I'm sure he'll have some good things to say about the highlights. Viramontes with a nice touchdown grab there. Again, we thank Larry for going out and shooting this game. Larry Zavala, our producer.
I think anytime you can go out, look, 5-0, that's a great start. But clearly things are clicking for this team. And so I'd imagine when I'm going to talk to Coach, I want to know what he says about maybe has the team faced any adversity, because they're certainly going to face some down the line in league play, and curious to know what he says about that.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I talked to him last night. He doesn't like the way his team's executing. He sounded like Tom Brady talking about the offense of the Buccaneers. And he says he don't like that. But I said, well, you're talking about your offense? He goes, no, both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But heck, hey, he's 5-0. He can't be that bad, and he scores over 50 points. And he's got some guys who can really play. He thinks a couple Division I guys, and everybody looked like a D1 product against Pericles last week.
Well, good coaches always want more, Randy, as you know, and you can't settle, you can't get complacent, and you got to want more for your team and more for your players, so that doesn't surprise me.
He loves Andrew Marshall, who's a wide receiver. Garcia is very good as well, but number 7, Marshall, he thinks is a D1 guy. He's a terrific performer, and again, everybody got involved in this one when you score over 50 points. How about that name, Sir Warren? They literally are calling him Sir after that touchdown, and he's a happy camper. And here's Sir Warren again. He was running with a violent style in this one. So, and here's the guy, Andrew Marshall, getting D1 looks. Brought that one in beautifully in the corner of the end zone for the score. This had to be tough on Pericles. Pericles had a great program over the years, but they weren't strong enough to contain Roosevelt, the Mustangs, on this night.
Well, when they were really good, remember who their head coach was? A guy named Dean Harrington. Now he's at St. Francis. So, yeah, Pericles, on the mend.
Yeah, they need some work and some help. But Roosevelt Eastvale is obviously a better football team. So now it's time, without further ado, to bring a coach in, Tommy Leach, who's got off to a 5-0 start. Good-looking guy. Obviously, he has had no worries because he still looks great after going 5-0. Coach, I was just mentioning it. You told me that you didn't like the way your team was executing, but yet you're 5-0. Explain that to us.
No disrespect to our opponent. It's not the caliber we're going to play in league or probably in the division we're going to play in. So kind of like how I look at non-league, it's not about the score or winning games. It's about getting better and expecting to play great. Because if we don't expect to play great and if we don't play great, then things can get ugly really, really fast in our league against the competitions we play.
Coach, talk about trying to keep your team humble. I mean, we're talking about young men that are winning games, big numbers, and, they might think they're flying high. How do you keep them, even keel, knowing that there's better competition down the road?
I mean, I just said that because same thing I tell my team, it's almost like we got to handle these wins like losses. We got to take the things that we did bad and really take it to heart. And because if we don't, we're not going to get better, and there's not going to be greatness in this team. If we handle it with maturity and, taking it like, hey, look, this is something we need to improve on, every mistake that we make, we're going to be great. There's greatness in us, but, it's basically a decision our players have to make. I mean, really, I think Nick Saban. Go ahead.
I know you like your talent, but now you are stepping it up, going into the Big West Upper Division, and now you got Murrieta Valley and Corona Centennial in front of you. What must you do to be competitive? You're the underdog at home tomorrow night to have a real shot to beat that kind of caliber squads that you're facing off against.
Well, I think it's easy. I mean, honestly, it's just a choice. I mean, Nick Saban said there is no choice, but there is a choice. It's just a choice to do your job and play passion and effort. And, football gets really, really easy when you take out all the distractions and you just focus on your job. Football is really easy. Someone like me who wasn't a great student or anything like that, when I got on the football field, all I did was worry about doing my job, and it was really easy. So, take the emotion aside, all that stuff out, just focus on what you're supposed to do and execute what you're supposed to do. Football's easy. So all we have to do is make that choice. And once we do, as a team, we're going to be pretty special.
Coach, we saw some of the highlights, maybe some key players, maybe a couple players that have really grown this year, maybe under the radar guys that have either maybe surprised you or shocked you that are now contributing in a bigger way than you thought.
One would be Sir Warren. We do call him Sir. he's kind of had a couple really good backs in front of him the last couple years. And he's playing with a lot of heart and a lot of with some pain too. Really showing our young players, what it takes to at this level. And one would be him, and another one is Quincy LeJay. Playing football, he's a baseball player, and he's a Division I talent. His grandpa played in the NFL. His dad played some pro football. So he's a guy that's probably going to get a Division I scholarship. He's really special, but he's learning as you go. And thank goodness for these 5 games because he got a lot better in them. He's phenomenal.
Coach, before I let you go, I want to know about your community. We're out in other parts of Southern California. We don't get to see a lot of Riverside County football. We know about Corona Centennial. We don't hear a lot about some of the other former Big 8 teams. Other than Norco, they've had some movement in their football program. Yeah. Tell us about your community, Eastvale, and how important football is to that community.
Oh, it's awesome. We're one high school city, and our games are always packed. I'm sure you're the photographer that went there last week can tell you. It's a beautiful place. It really is. I love our school. The administration just phenomenal. Super supportive people. Our track team won CIF. Our basketball team a couple years ago won state. Our water polo's winning CIF. We're knocking on the door to win a title as well. We always got great athletes. Our big thing, and I probably haven't done a good enough job as far as this goes, is keeping our talent in. A couple years ago, I think there was 5 starters on Modern Day. It's national championship team that were in Eastvale.
All right, thank you, Tommy. A lot of people lose talent to Modern Day, and he did do a great job, Tommy Leach, last year. They went to the Division III semifinals, so he did come close to winning a CIF championship. And we thank Tommy Leach for being on the show and his team off to a great 5-0 start. There's Tommy. Thank you for being on the program, Tommy. All right.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you for visiting with us. He's got it going there. It's not going to be easy in that league with those kind of teams.
Yeah, but that's what's funny. We were talking about the Cal Preps, and if they're 5-0, and so if they can just kind of show that they're competitive in those games, they're gonna drop it down into a division they can compete in and probably make the playoffs. So good for them and good luck.
Yeah, he figures to make a run. We don't know in what division yet, but he figures to make a run. And so does Cleveland High School. Now, Cleveland last year lost at El Camino Real. Kind of surprised a lot of people, but as it turned out, El Camino Real went on and won a lower division championship, so they weren't a bad football team. So that El Camino and Cleveland are going to mix it up on our air tomorrow night, and the Cavaliers are going to want to get revenge. So we're going to bring on Peter Gunny, the head coach, and his fine running back Donovan Powell, and chat about tomorrow night's game. Now, you like Donovan Powell. You've seen him play a lot.
Yeah, he was our Daily News Player of the Week earlier in the year. I think he ran for, I want to say it was like 300 yards. They rolled over Grant, so I know how explosive he can be.
Yeah, everybody seems to pick on those East Valley League teams. Oh, by the way, I got to throw this out there. My alma mater, North Hollywood, their coach Scott Fair is doing a great job. He's got a nice running back in Burt, the 10th grader.
Yeah, Jalen Burt.
Yeah, Jalen Burt. They're having a really good year.
4-1.
Yeah, my Huskies. How about that?
Yeah.
Rip Polly last week. You don't seem impressed.
No, I'm not.
All right, let's talk about Cleveland football. Let's get to Peter Gunny and his fine running back Donovan Powell. They'll join us now. We got them on the air there. They are 2 young-looking chaps. Donovan, who's got that exaggerated haircut. I love it. And Coach Peter Gunny. Coach, congratulations on a fine start. I know you're hurting a little bit from last week's game. And what I liked when I talked to you on the phone was the fact that you admitted you got beat last week. You had no excuses. Your team went to Carson and lost the football game. I like that philosophy. Explain your thoughts on what happened at Carson.
Well, I think, and I was talking earlier with the team and you guys earlier, I think that we went down over the hill, and typically those teams are much more physical, and it was a little bit different for us, just playing on a Thursday and traveling 2 hours. And like I said, that's not an excuse. we just plain and simple did not show up. We executed early in the game. It was 20-12 at the end of the first quarter. And then we had some key injuries and things got away from us. And we had to have some younger guys step into some different situations, and they just weren't able to execute. And, we got thumped, and I won't take anything away from Carson. Their coach did a great job. Their staff did a great job. Their team executed, and they took it to us. And it is what it is.
Donovan, what is something that you feel like you learned the most from that defeat? Wins we can learn, but we're feeling good. Losses seem to always help you learn more. What is something you learned from that loss?
Well, no matter what team you are, you can always get knocked down, and you need to always practice well and have a good week of practice. I don't feel like we did that week, and so we just got punched in the mouth, and we didn't execute the right way.
Donovan, we were talking about your numbers, your big game against Grant. We're going to have you on television tomorrow night. They're going to see you run. You're one of our key players to look at. So what have our viewers seen when they watch you run? What is Donovan Powell like with the football? Explain your style.
I just like to, whenever I see the hole, I just like to burst out. I'm really fast, and I try to juke people as much as possible. I can also run over people. I just do everything.
Love that.
I do. I love the confidence.
Yeah,
it's
love
great.
Coach Gunny, when you hear Donovan speak like that, you've seen it with your own two eyes. Maybe you can explain, from a coach's perspective, what makes Donovan so lethal on the football field.
Well, he's shown a great deal of patience when running the ball. So he's definitely been in the system as a freshman, and as a sophomore, he stepped into the starting role. He's learned to be able to, like I said, patience and look for the cutback. And as he said, he burst through the hole, and he really does know how to be dangerous in the open field and make people miss. And then we're working on the power game. I think he's getting used to it a little bit more. So that's something that we look forward to from him. I think that's a part of his game that he's going to have to get better at it as he gets older, but he's working on it.
Yeah, keep in mind, Donovan's only a junior. There's another football player that you have on your squad that's getting a lot of notoriety. That's Corey Hall. He had a couple long touchdowns a week ago. First to you, Coach, what kind of player is Corey Hall? And I know he plays both sides of the ball. And then Donovan, my question about Corey is what kind of teammate is he and what's your relationship with him? Let's start with the coach talking about Corey Hall.
He's special talent. He's definitely D1. He's just built different. He plays the game at a high level. He's extremely physical on both sides of the ball. He's a nightmare to cover, and he's a nightmare if you're going to get hit by him, so you better brace yourself.
And Donovan, what kind of teammate is he? How do you guys get along?
Well, the first time I saw Corey was freshman year, and I don't know if Gunny remembers this, but I saw him just walking up when we were practicing, and I was like, there's no way this dude is a freshman. He told me he was a freshman. I thought he was joking. And ever since then, we've been like brothers. He's a great teammate, always lifting up other people. He's such a good leader. And, yeah, we've just been together since freshman year, playing together, learning together. So, yeah.
Coach Gunny, Powell, Hall, talk about some of the other players on your team that can make plays, and maybe as you're explaining some of those other players, when other teams are focused on guys like Donovan and Corey, how do you mix it up? How do you keep people honest when they're so focused on the big time playmakers?
I mean, you can, for us, we try and move people around and put them in different positions and see how the defense reacts to lining up people in different positions, and then just try and pick on the passing aspect, trying to pick apart their coverages and stuff like that. And then we do have another running back in Daniel Guzman. He's a great running back as well. We have Omar Alatorre and Marcelo Aguilar and Andrew Shackelford, our quarterback. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards at this point. So we definitely have a bunch of different weapons. We just try to move people around and try and get the coverages that we like and spread them out, and it allows Donovan and Guzman to run through the holes.
All right, we got to tee this up now. They're playing El Camino Real tomorrow night, and the Royals got you last year. El Camino won that game, kind of surprised everybody. El Camino was 0-5 at the time, but it was a harbinger of things to come. As I noted, they went on to have a really good year and win a lower division championship. So what's it like around Cleveland High School this week about how you're going to get back at the Royals? You got them on your home turf. What's the story there, Coach? How motivated is your football team for tomorrow night?
Well, I'd love to tell you that last year's game has an effect on this year's game, but it really doesn't. I think more so is how do we bounce back from adversity from last week? What are we going to do to get better, and how our kids show up? The bell's going to ring tomorrow night, and we're going to have to answer it.
Coach, kind of just forecasting. I know it's a one game at a time thing, but we got to ask you, you're a good football team. Do you guys talk about getting to the open division? I got to ask while you're on, is that something you guys talk about? Is that a goal of yours to earn an open division berth?
I think wherever the chips fall is going to be best suited for us as Cleveland. Obviously, being in the open is a huge accomplishment for the program, and we do just take it week by week. So if we happen to fall in the open, then we'll play in the open, and if we fall in Division I, we'll play in Division I. But as you said, it's just a week by week basis for us.
Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to ask Donovan Powell the same question I asked the coach about El Camino Real, because the coach didn't want to get into it about, what the motivation factor is. Donovan Powell, last year, El Camino Real took you down by the face guard, and they took you down hard. I want your thoughts on playing the Royals. Is Donovan Powell fired up to get revenge tomorrow night?
Well, to be honest, I agree with Coach. Obviously, it is week by week. He is my coach after all, so I'm learning from him. But also, I do want revenge. So, yeah.
See, he wants to get back at him.
Yeah, that was a great answer.
Peter Gunny, you're close friends with Jason Zabalik, the head football coach at El Camino Real. Is it tough to coach against a guy you really like? Is that difficult? Because you guys have known each other. You're basically the same age. You played against each other in high school. You guys are buds. Is it tough to coach against him?
No, it ramps it up a little bit in terms of having those side conversations on the off season and things like that. But he's a great coach. He's done a tremendous job over there at El Camino and building that program up. So I look forward to the task. I know they're going to be ready. We got our guys ready, so we'll find out.
Coach, it's a last question for me, and when we think about city section football, sometimes programs have a hard time getting numbers out there. Reseda recently had to not play a game, I believe, against Kennedy, didn't have enough numbers. You guys are clearly doing well. I'm not sure, you can answer this question. I'm not sure if you have a JV, and if you do, answer that question. But just talk about the health of the football program at Cleveland. Clearly, you guys are doing well, winning games.
Yeah, so when I took over the program, and it happened, unfortunately, during the COVID season, we were extremely low on numbers. I think we had somewhere around 26 total in the entire program. Wow. And then last year we got up to about 30, 31, and then piecemealed a JV season together somehow, some way. And then this year we have somewhere upwards of about 75, 80.
Wow.
So
good for you, Coach.
We're starting to grow, and we do have a JV program, and they're struggling a little bit at times, but you can see the progression with them, and they're working hard day in and day out. So, and everybody's excited, obviously, with winning, but I think the idea is that we're getting better week by week.
I looked at the Cal Preps predicted score, and it's our game tomorrow night, and it has you winning 28-24. Any thoughts? Maybe you guys don't have to show up. You already got the game won.
No, we're going to have to show up. We're definitely going to have to show up, and I'd love to believe that, that's the outcome, that we're going to win, but we'll find out. We'll have to play it. Now you're showing highlights of last year's game, so it'll be a
I'm just trying to motivate. That's our meter right there who ran it in. These are touchdowns for El Camino, who got off to a great start last season, and then you guys rallied back. They never snapped the ball well. They always seem to give away two 2 points every game, El Camino. Here you go. Here's your quarterback throwing a touchdown. I haven't seen this. That's Roberts, right? Stephon Roberts from last year?
No, Stephon Roberts, correct.
Yeah, that's from last year. You don't have him, but you have Corey Hall back, and this is Spellman, who's a running back who's graduated, and you're probably happy about that. But we wanted to show you some of those highlights to motivate Peter Gunny and Donovan Powell. Guys, thanks a lot. You're a good dude. We look forward. By the way, this is a little promo. Tomorrow night, Jason Zabalik, Peter Gunny at halftime live. They're going to do the whole halftime together. They're going to interview one another. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Can't wait.
Yeah, by the time that interview's done, it's so long, you'll be like Rip Van Winkle with your beard. It'll be so long. Coach, good job. We'll see you tomorrow night. I look forward to the hospitality in Reseda. Thank you,
guys.
Donovan.
Have a good
All
night.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Had some fun with those guys. They're good dudes.
Hey, man, they got a big game tomorrow night. They're focused. And not that you asked me, but I like the Cavaliers in that one.
I'm calling the game. I won't make a prediction. All right, speaking of predictions, we got to look at some of the big games. I think we had a harbinger of things to come with Franklin and Eagle Rock. That's really the biggest game in the city section tomorrow, next to the El Camino game, which is another big game with the guys from Cleveland. Franklin and Eagle Rock are both undefeated. That'll be unquestionably for the Northern League Championship, and I would imagine an open division bid.
Give me Eagle Rock.
Franklin could throw the football.
Give me Eagle Rock. I saw them play against Granada, and the best, maybe not to the certain level of some of the other programs I've watched this year, like a Chaminade or a Sierra Canyon or something, but the most disciplined football team I've seen on the football field, Eagle Rock.
Andy Moran does a tremendous job with Eagle Rock. Carson at Banning is another one. You look at the records, and that's a little deceiving. Carson's won its last 3. Banning's been playing a lot of southern section schools, kind of like what Birmingham does.
Sure.
That's a good football game.
Yeah, that's probably a toss-up. I think I'm going to go Banning on that one.
All right, let's turn our attention to the southern section. Santa Margarita against Orange Lutheran. This one's at Orange Coast College.
Total toss-up again.
Come on, make a prediction.
No, I know. I mean, I'm
sake.
just saying it's not like a no-brainer. That's Trinity League stuff right there, man.
That's really what the battle for third place.
Yeah,
That's what people are saying.
that exactly right. The winner of that game might earn an automatic bid to the playoffs. So I'm going to go Santa Margarita on that one.
Okay, when you say playoffs, you're talking open division. Which
not
is Division
necessarily.
1. Division 1 there.
Yeah, could be a top seed in Division 1. Maybe open or not.
They're
sorry,
D1. That's their highest division.
Maybe Division 1, but I'm saying maybe a top seed in Division 2, which is also very good.
Okay, now let's go to your neck of the woods because you love. Is this where you're going tomorrow?
This is where I will be tomorrow in
I
Chatsworth.
predicted. I don't even have to ask where Tarek is going. It's right there.
That's arguably the game of the week, just for so many reasons. Sierra Canyon is the new kid on the block in the Mission League. So that's the program's first ever Mission League game. Veteran team, Bishop Almont. And even though I'm a Daily News guy, I picked Almont to win that game. So I think there's going to be some scathing readers that aren't going to appreciate me in Chatsworth tomorrow night. But
you may
I like
not be
Almont
allowed
in
in the
game.
press box tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. John Ellinghaus is a good guy, though, so I think he'll understand.
Yeah.
Sierra Canyon hasn't won. Sierra Canyon hasn't quite won a big game this year. They haven't. They're only 2.
Are they a big disappointment to you?
I wouldn't call it a big disappointment, but it's certainly underwhelming. And John Ellinghaus has been very transparent, saying that the program has never quite experienced lows like this. They don't lose like this. They lost 41-0 to Mission Viejo. They don't do that. So their only 2 wins are to Westlake and Green Valley High School in Nevada. So they've had big games. They've lost all of them. There's another big game tomorrow night. I think Almont wins.
We're down to our last 40 seconds. We're at the midway stage of the football season. In a couple words, what's the biggest story so far?
Why is there such a big gap between St. John Bosco, Mater Dei, and everyone else? Why is it just the 2 teams every year, year in, year out? Can it be fixed?
Hopefully it'll get fixed. You know what's going to be fixed? Our position here at 9 o'clock every Thursday night. You're coming back next week for more, huh?
You did there. Yeah, I'll be here.
You better be here. I missed Tarek.
I'm
the
fixed
one
to
time
the seat,
you went to
actually.
that wedding a couple weeks ago, complete threw the timing of the whole show off.
Well, it just goes to show you how valuable I am.
You are a valuable commodity. No one is denying that. We thank our guests. They were superb, I thought. Tommy Leach, the head football coach out at Roosevelt, Eastvale, and, of course, the guys from Cleveland High School in Reseda. Coach Peter Gunny and his running back Donovan Powell, and we'll see them tomorrow night. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for Cleveland hosting El Camino Real live on LA 36. For Tarek, I'm Randy. We'll see you next Thursday here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.